back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Urvi and I'm taking you through my New York City apartment hunting process. This is the third video in a three-part series of my apartment hunting process. So if you haven't watched those, go watch them. I'll leave them somewhere up here. Really interesting to see how New York City has changed since the pandemic and how the prices now are kind of crazy. I'm moving in exactly 1 week from today, so lots of nerves, lots of feelings around the move. You know, if you live in New York City, you know how crazy it is moving here. It's just a whole process, but we will get through it, and I'm obviously vlogging the whole process. So if you guys are interested, stick around. In this video, I'm showing you 7 different apartments in different parts of Brooklyn. So going from downtown Brooklyn to Clinton Hill to Bushwick, and the price range is going to be, I think, between $2,400 to $3,700 on the high end. So yeah, let's just get into it. So the first building I looked at was in downtown Brooklyn off of Fulton Street. All the addresses of all the buildings that I'm going to show you are going to be in the description box, so make sure you check that out. This building was a luxury building with all the amenities: doorman, gym, laundry, common area, etc. And it is a new build. So when I first saw this in, I think, February, end of January or early February, they had just started showing and started the leasing process. It was a completely new, completely empty building. I decided to look at studios and 1-bedrooms when I first saw this on Street Easy, but there was so much demand that they ended up increasing the price of the 1-bedroom. So this first one that we're gonna see is a 1-bedroom apartment. It was $4,150 gross, and they were offering 2 months free on an 18-month lease, so it came up to like just a little bit under $3,700. I wasn't aware that they had increased the price until I showed up there, but I decided to see it anyway just because I thought it'd be interesting. This was a model unit, so just a quick tour. You walked into the kitchen and there were 2 closets on the right side and really nice floor to ceiling windows. I loved the view here because you could see the Manhattan skyline. Lots of closets throughout the space and a closet in the bedroom as well. And then again, floor to ceiling windows in the bedroom also. This was the bathroom in the hallway. Obviously, this was a really quick tour that I did because this unit was out of my price range, but let's go see a studio in the same building. The studio, when they first started renting out, was listed for $3,150 gross, and they were offering a month free on an 18-month lease. So the net was coming up to $2,975, so like close to $3,000. But I did see that as time went on, like late February, all the studios were kind of priced up at $3,250, $3,350 gross, so the prices did go up. So walking into the studio, pretty much same finishes as the 1-bedroom. There was 1 closet in the entryway, and then the kitchen was right off of the entryway. I did really like the finishings in the bathroom here. Really big vanity mirrors with lots of storage space, 3-door storage, and then the shower was really beautiful. They had this like marble backdrop, which I really loved. It was a standing shower, there wasn't a bathtub. Through the walkway, you walked into a washer and dryer in unit on the left side. This did take up like very limited closet space that the apartment already had, but I mean, it's always nice to have a washer dryer. But the living area was a very good size. You could fit a queen size bed and a couch next to each other, and it also had the same floor to ceiling windows and really nice Manhattan views. This was one of the first buildings that I viewed when I started my apartment hunting process, and it was such a strong contender. I just didn't want to make a decision based off of just like seeing 1 or 2 apartments, so I kind of decided to hold off on this. But by the time I was expressing interest in this, the prices had already gone up, and at that point the net rent was crossing $3,000, which was just not something I wanted to be paying for a studio. So this one wasn't for me. I think they still do have some empty units in this building. If you're interested, go look at their website. The next apartment building was also a full-service luxury building in downtown Manhattan. This was 260 Gold Street, and I decided to see a studio here. It was priced at $3,175 gross, and it had 2 months free on a 14-month lease. So the net rent would come up to about $2,750, which was a really decent price for this building because it had all of the amenities. You walked in to, again, a similar layout to the previous one. The kitchen was right off of the entryway. There was a decent sized living area. I really liked the marble granite countertops here. I'm not sure which one it is, but there was one half closet kind of deep in the entryway off of the kitchen. Lots of storage in the kitchen itself. And then the bathroom was my favorite part in this apartment. Do you see those little beehive like backslash tiles? I absolutely love that. Gives it such a luxury spa-like feel. The living area was a decent size. I think you could also fit like a large bed and couch here comfortably. And then you walked into a tiny little patio. I wouldn't even call this a balcony, but like a Juliet balcony. Like you could probably only stand out there. I don't think a chair or anything would fit out there, but nonetheless, it's nice to have that. I actually really like this apartment and it was priced really well. The only concern that I had was that this was like a 15 or a 17-minute walk from the nearest train station, and given that I have to commute to work 3 to 4 days a week, I knew right off the bat that this was gonna be a deal breaker for me, because walking like 15-17 minutes one way to get home, especially when you're coming back from a long day of work or you're coming back from like a night out with your friends and it's late in the night, I wouldn't feel safe doing that. So I passed on this, but my friends do live around this area and they absolutely love it. So if you don't mind the walk from the subway, I think this was a really good apartment building also. The next apartment is also a studio in a luxury building. So this building actually didn't have a physical doorman, but it did have a virtual doorman. It had laundry in unit, the building had a gym, and the best part about this was that it was also a rent stabilized building. So when apartments are rent stabilized in New York, there's a law that your rent can only go up like a certain percentage. I think it's like between 2 and 5%, I'm not sure, every year. So you would never be in a situation like I am in now where I'm getting priced out of my apartment. You can always expect a very reasonable increase in rent, which I think was the best part of this one. And I don't usually see this with luxury buildings, so I was a little surprised that this was rent stabilized. The studio was priced at $3,100 and there was a month free on a 15-month lease. So the net was coming up to like just under $2,900. It had great recessed lighting. I think this was like north facing. You walked into the kitchen, which had good counter space and island. The living area was not massive, but the big windows kind of made up for that and let all this light in, which made it feel bigger than it was. There you can also see the washer and dryer. All the fittings in the kitchen looked pretty new. There were 2 closets off of the entryway, one full size and then one smaller coat closet. And then the bathroom had pretty nice like white tiling throughout, which just made it feel very clean and nice. So this was a nice building also. I didn't end up going for this one because of the same reason as the previous one. This was also about a 15-minute walk from the nearest subway that I would have to take to get into work, and it was not just a very easy commute for me. It would take me like 40 minutes to get downtown. Now for the last 3 apartments in this video, we're going to Bushwick. I actually have lived in Bushwick for about 9 months. This was after my apartment in Newport. It was a walk-up, like not a fancy building at all, railroad style apartment. It was a 4-bedroom and I had 3 roommates, so not the best experience. Although living in Bushwick wasn't my favorite thing, given that it does take a little bit to commute into Manhattan, and on the weekend, sometimes when the trains are not running as they should run, it's just a little bit annoying. I wasn't totally, however, opposed to the idea of living in Bushwick again, just because I've lived there, I know the area kind of, and then the prices are just crazy. So I was like, why not venture out and look at some apartments there? The first apartment was a 1-bed, 1-bath, and this was about a 6-minute walk from the train station, close to a grocery store, so kind of a good location. Full service building, virtual doorman, common area, rooftop, gym, all of that, and it was $2,700, so not really cheap for Bushwick, but then because it was a nicer building, I think it was a little bit on the higher side. And also in Manhattan, you cannot get a 1-bedroom for $2,700. So you walked in here to 2 closets in the entryway. One of them was a coat closet, pretty good size, kind of deep, and then the other was a full-size closet, also a decent size. And then the kitchen was right off of the entryway. Really nice appliances, all new. And this was a living room, pretty decent size. The only thing about this apartment was it overlooked directly the train track, so I was concerned that it would have a lot of train noises. I did wait here to kind of let the train pass and see if the sound was overwhelming, and it really wasn't. The windows were like double pane, so they were keeping a lot of the noise out, so wouldn't have been a deal breaker for me, honestly. The bathroom was also pretty nice, newer fittings, newer finishings, had a decent amount of storage. The double door refrigerator in this apartment was my favorite thing. It had an ice maker, which I don't really see in New York apartments. The rooftop area wasn't really well kept because it was the winter time, but he did tell me that during the summertime they clean it up, make it super pretty. So all in all, out of all the Bushwick apartments that I saw, this was my top choice, and I was definitely considering applying for this unit. I was also trying to negotiate like $100 off, but in the end I decided that I would still want to stay in Manhattan, so I didn't end up going for any of these apartments, but all of the apartments that I saw in Bushwick were actually really good. This next one was in the Bushwick Ridgewood neighborhood. I don't know much about that area, but I thought why not see it anyway. It was priced at $26.78 and it had 1 month free, I think on a 15-month lease. The net price came up to like $2,500, and it was also a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment. You walked into a small bathroom. The bathroom was definitely smaller than what I've seen in the other apartments, but it did have really nice bathtub area, which was enclosed in glass, which I liked. And then the kitchen was off of the living area, pretty similar to the last one. Really modern appliances. This apartment was very, very well done, I thought, and it was recently renovated, so you could see all the appliances were pretty new. I also liked the gray flooring, and I loved the windows here. These were my favorite part. I think it gave the apartment so much character. And then the bedroom was off of the living room on the left. There was also AC unit attached. The bedroom was a decent size. I think it would fit a queen bed, but then it wouldn't fit much more than a queen bed. Like, I don't think I'd fit a dresser and a queen bed in here, but the closet was huge and it was really tall, so you could fit a lot of stuff in the closet. This wasn't an amenity building, so it didn't have like laundry. I think now a must-have for me in any of the apartments that I would choose to live in is an in-building washer dryer. I don't need to have it in unit, but it has to be in the building, so I don't have to lug my clothes to the laundromat in the winter time or when it's just a hassle. The last apartment was also in Bushwick. This is called the Denizen building, and people who know Bushwick probably know this. This is this is the most fancy building I've ever seen. Felt like a luxury hotel. More than 5, I think, common areas. There was a bowling alley, an arcade, a dog park, a yoga studio, a gym, a pool. I feel like you just name it, and this apartment building had all of it. The amenities were $125 extra a month, but I think for the amount of things you could do for $125, this was crazy. I went to see a studio here and it was priced at $28.39 gross, and there was 2 months free on a 14-month lease, so the net rent came up to $24.33. So it was on the cheaper end, but the studio, as you will see, was very small. So you walked into the apartment and on the left was the bathroom. As per usual, all the fittings were pretty beautiful and new. The kitchen was part of the living area, and there were only 2 closets in this apartment, and both were like smaller coat closet size. So first off, I thought there was not enough storage at all for the amount of stuff that I have. And then the living area itself was pretty narrow, so I don't think you could fit like a bed and a dresser on opposite walls here. It would have to be like just the bed and the couch. The window was a decent size. This was, I think, like north facing also, so there was recessed lighting, but not too much direct sunlight coming in. All in all, I thought this was a decent apartment, and if you were someone that didn't have too much stuff and were kind of like enamored by the amenities of the building and were willing to make the compromise of like space versus amenities, then I would totally do it. And all the 1-bedrooms in this building were too expensive out of my price range, so I didn't even want to look. Honestly, this was like the fanciest building I've ever seen, so I thought included in here. That was all of the apartments, and this concludes my apartment hunting series. I looked at, I think, 24, 25 apartments. So if you're following this journey, you know how crazy it's been. That is a lot of apartments to look at. I am excited to say that I'm moving to the Upper West Side in a week. I ended up picking a studio apartment on the Upper West Side. I have always wanted to live on the Upper West Side. I think it's such a nice area. It has so many restaurants, so many stores, little coffee shops to explore. The apartment I picked is also just 1 block away from Central Park, very close to Trader Joe's, very close to Whole Foods. So I'm very excited. It's gonna be a change of pace because where I live in Midtown right now, it's crazy, it's loud, it's close to Times Square. So there's a lot going on, and Upper West Side is a quieter, calmer, more laid back neighborhood, which I think will be nice for me. That's all I'm gonna say for now, but in the next video, I'm giving you guys an empty apartment tour of the one that I ended up picking. So yeah, I'll see you back here if you're interested. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you for coming on this crazy, stressful journey looking for an apartment in New York City with me. Bye guys.